Students, in the last class we studied some important points in electronic switching systems, that is why this subject and evolution of telecommunications. Okay, in evolution of telecommunications we studied how the signals are transmitted in telegraph using Morse codes, and also the point-to-point connection demonstrated by Alexander Graham Bell for telephone sets. In case of Graham Bell demonstration, that is for point-to-point connection, we observed two things. One is, the advantage is, since it is a fully connected network, there is no blocking probability. That is, the call will not be terminated because of not availability of switching paths. Okay, but the drawback is, as the number of subscribers increases, okay, the utilization factor U is approximately equal to 0. That is what we studied in the earlier class. Okay, to overcome that problem, we observed that we need a switching element to reduce the number of links, because in the utilization in the formula of utilization, U is equal to the denominator we have the number of turns, right? Number of turns. Therefore, as the number of turns reduces, you can increase the utilization factor, right? So for that, what we observed, with the help of a switching element, nothing but an exchange. We reduce the number of links, okay, to improve the utilization factor. Okay. After that, we studied the classification of switching systems, that is manual as well as automatic, and we discussed the manual switching systems, right? So while discussing manual switching system, we come across this diagram where I didn't explain anything about this circuit, right? But in this class, we will discuss some more points regarding the manual switching system. This entire circuit is called as a telephone set. Okay, in the previous class, we seen some animations with a telephone, but this is the actual circuit present inside the telephone set. Okay, and we observed one more point called hook off. Okay, now see this. So this is nothing but a hook off condition. So this is the actual telephone diagram in which this is the hook off place. So whenever the telephone receiver is lifted, what happens? This particular circuit will be closed. Therefore, it is going to provide an input to the relay. Therefore, relay operates and it is going to blink one LED. Okay. So this is the operation of your manual switching system. So whatever the point we discussed in the earlier class, we observed that all the subscribers are connected to a single exchange, right? All the subscribers are connected to a single exchange. But is it possible? For example, I am having 50 subscribers. So I can accommodate 50 subscribers in one exchange. If I am having 1000 subscribers, is it possible to accommodate 1000 in one exchange? No, right? So for that cases, we have a mechanism called as the subscribers switching boards are classified into two types. So one is called as single termination and multi-termination switching boards. So our objective is to accommodate all subscribers. Okay. So to do that, we have two methods. One is called as single termination switchboards and multi-termination switchboards. So what is single termination switchboard? This is some picture from the internet. So here we are dividing the subscriber into groups. For example, I am having 100 subscribers. Okay. In the previous case, what you observed, all the 100 subscribers are connected to a single exchange where only one operator can handle. But in this case, we are dividing the subscriber into groups. Group A and Group B. In Group A, I will accommodate some 50 subscribers. In Group B, I am going to accommodate 50 subscribers. Therefore, it is easy to handle 50 subscribers by one operator and 50 subscribers by another operator. So, in case of single termination, to accommodate 100 subscribers, we require 2 operators. Okay. Now, take an example how to establish connections. So, in Group A, I am taking some 4 subscribers. In Group B, I am taking another 4 subscribers. Okay. Now, a subscriber in Group A want to make a call to a subscriber in Group A itself. That is, one want to make a call to 2. In that case, what happens? This first operator itself can able to handle these 2 subscribers because both are present in the same switchboard. Therefore, we call these subscribers as local subscribers. So, for this group, these subscribers are called as non-local subscribers. Clear? Now, second scenario. In the second scenario, 3 want to make a call to the 7. How it is possible? So, here, to connect the subscribers, we have transfer lines. So, these lines are called as transfer lines. Okay. So, whenever A3 want to make a call to 7, then what happens? This operator is going to connect this 3 to the Group B subscriber 7 with the help of these trunk lines to close the circuit. Okay. That means to establish a connection between non-local subscribers, these 2 operators has to operate to establish one connection. That is the main drawback in case of single termination switchboards. Okay, if the subscribers are local subscribers, no problem. One single operator can able to handle. If I want to establish a connection between non-local subscribers, in that case, to establish that connection, in this case, 2 operators has to perform their job. Therefore, the call processing time is more in case of single termination switchboards. To overcome these problems, we will go for multi-termination switchboards. So, this is one animation video where multiple operators are working. So, these boards are connected to a single path. If you observe this diagram, see here, if I am having 100 subscribers, these all 100 subscribers are connected to each and every switchboard. So, first operator, second operator, third operator. Okay, whenever someone is want to make call to 7, for example, and simultaneously some 2 is want to make call to 8. So, whenever this operator is handling this call, okay, this operator cannot able to handle the second call. At that time, because 2 and 3 are free, any one of the operator can able to handle this second call. So, in case of multi-termination switchboards, the probability of blocking a call is very less, because as we have more number of operators, they can easily handle the traffic. So, one more technology called as traffic. So, note on all the terminology, because when I writing exam, you have to use the technical points. Okay, what is traffic? The amount of subscribers that are active is called as traffic. Okay. So, the drawbacks in single termination are overcome in multi-termination switchboards. So, this is the entire operation of manual switching system. So, whatever we discussed so far, we discussed that we are assuming all the subscribers are connected to a single exchange. Okay. Is it possible? In this case, only 100 subscribers. But my objective is, I want to connect the subscribers who are around the world. Around the world, we have millions of subscribers. Is it possible to have a single exchange which can able to accommodate all million subscribers? No, right? That means we have to use some mechanism in such a way that we have to establish connection between all the subscribers in terms of a network. So then the point comes into the picture called as network. Okay, what is a network? Exchange of information between multiple devices called as a network. So in case of switching networks, we are going to divide the subscribers into groups. Okay. For example, some 50 subscribers, group A, 50 subscribers, group B, 50 subscribers, group C. This is not like the previous case. Here, this is the President Vadlamudi. The subscribers who are in Vadlamudi are connected to the exchange A. And the subscribers who are present in Tenali are connected to exchange B. And the subscribers who are present in Guntur are connected to exchange C. Okay. Now, by proper switching hierarchy, we are going to interconnect these three exchanges. Okay. Now, I can call this as a network. Okay. Because multiple devices which are connected and communicate each other. Therefore, I can call this as a network. This is a simple network where I applied a point-to-point connection. That means from each exchange, we will have a path between the other exchanges. Okay. So, here one more point called as trunks. What is a trunk? Take an example here. This is one exchange and this is second exchange. To interconnect these two exchanges, we use some wires. So wherever connection is required, we use wires only, copper wires. Okay. The place where we use them, okay, the technology changes. The same copper wire which is connecting from the subscriber end to the exchange are called as subscriber lines. Okay. The same copper wires which are connecting the two exchanges are called as trunks. Got the point? Based on the place where we are using the copper wires, they are calling with different names. The same copper wires which are coming from the subscriber telephone set to the exchange are called as subscriber lines, and the copper wires which are coming from, which are between the two exchanges are called as trunks. Clear? So, what is the advantage of this switching network? Means you can have many types of connections, that is intercity connections, transcontinental and intercontinental connections. So, the first communication intercity was between New York City to Boston in the year 1884. This is the first intercity connection. And next one is first transcontinental connection is from New York to San Francisco in the year 1915. And the first intercontinental connection was operated between New York and London in the year 1927. Okay. So because of the switching networks, this is possible. Okay. So this is one example of the switching network. So some 4 exchanges are there in this case. S1, SS2, SS3 and SS4. So in this scenario, they are not using the point-to-point connection, right? Because from 2 to 3, there is no direct connection. Therefore, it is not an example for point-to-point connection. Therefore, it is an example for a blocking network. So, whenever we have whenever we have a fully connected network, it comes under non-blocking network. So for this case, it comes under a blocking network. Okay. So here, to connect these exchanges, we should follow some switching hierarchy. So to connect these exchanges, you have to follow some switching hierarchy. Okay. So based upon what reason we have to interconnect these exchanges? Based upon traffic. For example, this exchange is at Vijayawada. This exchange is at Vadlamudi. This is at Vijayawada. So this is at Guntur or Tenali. And this is Guntur. So the subscribers who are present in Tenali are connected to this exchange 3, and the subscribers who are present inside Guntur will connect to this exchange 4, and for Vadlamudi as well as for Vijayawada. So based upon the analysis, because Vijayawada and Guntur are having huge density, the number of subscribers are more. So based upon that, we have to provide some extra trunks. Okay, while designing the network, we have to follow the traffic. Here the traffic is less. So why what is need to connect a trunk from here to here? Okay, no need, right? So based upon the traffic, we are going to design the network using the switching hierarchy principles. This topic is discussed in detail in upcoming chapters. So for introduction, learn up to this. Okay. For example, from S2 to S3, there is no connection. For example, a subscriber in S2 want to make a call to a subscriber in exchange 3. For example, B. How to establish a connection? Therefore, there are two paths are possible for this connection. From A, S2 to S4 and S4 to S3. This is one path. Right? So one more path is also possible. From S2 to S1 and S1 to S3. So based upon the traffic density, the exchange may route this call via S2, S1, S3 or S2, S4, S3. The final objective is we should not lose any call. Okay, this comes under the concept of switching network, which follows some switching hierarchy to establish a connection between one exchange to another exchange. This is what we discuss now. Now, next topic is communication links. Okay, in the previous slides we seen one more topic. Okay. Communication links, intercity, transcontinental and intercontinental. So to obtain this particular connection, which mechanism is suitable for us? Which type of communication link is suitable for us? We will discuss in the topic communication links. Okay. So based upon the situation, you have to use either electrical communication links or optical communication links. Okay. For example, a subscriber at Vadlamudi want to make a call to a subscriber in Tenali. So in that case, what is simple way to establish connection? So from exchange of Vadlamudi to exchange of Guntur, we have to establish a connection through wire, a copper wire. That is sufficient in this case. Okay, because it is cost effective. For example, a person at Guntur want to make a call to a person at USA. In this case, is it possible to have a wired connection between a person from Guntur to a person at USA. Is it possible? That means based upon the application, we have to choose a dedicated communication path or communication link between the calling and called subscriber. So there are mainly two forms are available. One is called as electrical path, another one is called as optical communication link. Okay. So this is the structure of the electrical communication link. Okay. Now this is at a subscriber end. Calling subscriber end. And this is at a receiver, nothing but a called subscriber end. So how the signal is transmitted from the calling to the called subscriber in an electrical communication link, that we'll see now. What is this thing? Nothing but a transducer. ES means electrical signal, SC means signal conditioner, MI means medium interface. Okay. So based upon the position of the subscribers, I can use either a copper wire or a free space communication or a satellite. In the above example, from Vadlamudi to Tenali, which type of communication link is easy for us? Satellite means we need an antenna. Free space means we need an antenna. So installing an antenna is cost. Okay, it will increase the cost of the system. So in that case, a simple copper wire is sufficient. That's it. The same for the same case, if he is at Guntur, if he is at USA, in that case, which type of communication path is helpful for us? If I am using copper wire, no, right? Because hundreds of kilometers I have to lay the wire. Okay. So to overcome the attenuation, we have to put repeaters. That is more costly. In that scenario, what we have to do? We have to use a satellite as a communication path between the calling and called subscriber. Got it? So the original voice signal is converted into electrical signals with the help of a microphone. What is microphone? Microphone is a transducer. It is a transducer which converts our original voice signals into electrical pulses. These electrical pulses are propagated, okay, through this communication path based upon the communication link. If it is copper, I can transmit the same electrical signals. If it is satellite, we have to convert these electrical signals into electromagnetic waves. At receiving end, again have to convert those electromagnetic waves into electrical pulses with the help of some MI. What is MI? Medium interface. That means a receiving antenna is going to act as a MI, medium interface. Then we have to condition the signal, and again a transducer to convert these electrical signals to a voice. At the receiving end, how to convert electrical signals to voice? A earphone. Earphone is a transducer which is going to convert the electrical signals into sound waves. The operation of this microphone and earphone we'll discuss within 5 minutes. Okay, while explaining the concept of simple telephone circuits. Okay. Now, where we can go for a optical communication link. For example, take same example. A person at Guntur want to make a call to a subscriber at Mumbai. So in this case, I can use an optical fiber. What is an optical fiber? We know that optical fiber is having less attenuation when compared to the copper wires. For long distance communication, we will go for optical fibers. Okay. So remaining thing is same. Everything is same. Here, based upon the application, I have to choose a proper communication link. Either it is a copper wire, a free space, a satellite, or an optical fiber. So this is about the communication links. Now, so far in all the classes I am saying telephone set. Now, in this class, we'll analyze what is happening in a telephone set. So first we'll see about a simplex telephone circuit. What's the meaning of simplex telephone circuit? Nothing but a one-way communication. What's the meaning of one-way communication? One-way means here a subscriber A is talking and subscriber B can listen, can only listen. He cannot talk, he cannot give any reply. That is called as one-way communication. Okay. A simple example, a walkie-talkie. What is a walkie-talkie? Only one person can speak and remaining can listen. Second person may not give a reply for his question, right? That is called as simplex, one-way communication. An announcement. In an announcement, I will say, good morning to all. Only one-way communication, no reply from others. Same as in our case, I am taking class. You are not giving any reply to me, right? This is called as one-way communication. So, this is called a simplex telephone circuit where it requires a microphone and earphone. So, total how many components are there in this circuit? 4 components, right? A microphone, an inductor, a battery source and an earphone. Now, we will analyze the working principle of the microphone and the earphone. Okay, and what is the need of placing an inductor here and a battery source here in the circuit. So first we will discuss about the microphone. In general, all the telephone sets uses carbon microphones because of these advantages. So quality, acceptable quality it has, gives strong electrical signals and do not give high fidelity signals. So because of these advantages, we will go for a carbon microphones in our telephone sets which are cheaper. Okay. Now coming to the operation of this microphone. So this is the setup of your microphone. So it contains some components such as a diaphragm, a chamber, some moving electrodes. One is movable electrode, another one is a fixed electrode and a voltage source. Nothing but a battery. Okay. So first of all, you should know the operation of these carbon granules. What is the principle behind the carbon granules? The carbon granules has some resistance. So whenever these carbon granules are tightly packed, then what happens? Its resistance increases. So remember these points. Loosely bounded and tightly bounded. Okay, 2 points. Whenever the carbon granules are tightly bounded in the chamber, then its resistance decreases. Whenever the carbon granules in the chamber are loosely bounded, then its resistance increases. So based on the property of the carbon granules, we are going to understand the working principle of this microphone. Okay. So here, what is the operation of diaphragm? Diaphragm will vibrate based upon the input voice signal, right? So whenever this diaphragm vibrates, this particular movable electrode will move. Okay. Therefore, what happens? The carbon granules inside the chamber will. Okay, what happens? They will be tightly packed as well as loosely packed based upon the voice. That means the resistance will vary according to the input voice signal. Okay, that means the resistance is a function of your input audio signal or voice signal. So here, to complete the circuit, I am placing a battery here. Therefore, this becomes a closed circuit. This becomes a closed circuit. So whenever circuit is closed, what happens? It creates a current flow. It creates a current flow. Therefore, the current that is flowing inside is a function of, again, the resistance. Because resistance function of input audio signal, this current is also varies in accordance with the current voice signal. Conclude here, 2 minutes. Okay, fine. So therefore, you can say a single point here, that is current is a function of input voice, or we can also say that current undergoes amplitude modulation. So all of you know that what is amplitude modulation? What is amplitude modulation? The amplitude of the message signal will vary in accordance to the carrier. The amplitude of the carrier will vary in accordance with the amplitude of the message signal. That is called as amplitude modulation. Here also the current amplitude varies in accordance with the input sound signal. Therefore, we can say that the current undergoes amplitude modulation. So this is theoretical concept. In the next class, I am going to prove it mathematically. Okay? Thank you.